to the studio, and thank you for joining me for another episode of Throwback Thursday. So, Throwback Thursdays are where I pull out my retired stash and I create two projects with it. Just bear with me here a little bit. I just want to make sure everything is kind of straight. We got some good lighting. Um, I think we I think we're going to be good here. So everything looks like it's kind of lined up. So let's give this a go. So again, thank you for joining me. Today we're going to be doing some coloring and we're going to be using our watercolor pencils for this. Now we're not doing watercoloring. We're just going to color with our pencils. So for this episode, I am using a recently retired bundle. This is the Framed Seasons bundle. Now, when I looked, it looks like that the dies, these are still available. However, the stamp set is gone. So if the dies look like something that you may need, now there's no dies in here that actually cut out any images. These are just some detailed frame die, so you have like this wood look rectangular frame, and then you have these two ovals, so you've got a larger one if you want to do a matte, or just die cut like the whole one of the whole images here, which is what I did on one of the cards. You have a smaller one, and then there's this little piece here. It doesn't cut anything out. It just adds like that wood grain like texture in your cardstock or your designer series paper. So this dies, they're still available. The dies are also marked down as well. It didn't show that they were on low inventory at the time that I'm recording this. So again, yes, the stamp set is gone, but those dies are still available. So there's 5 images in here. You do have kind of like your pathway or your road with some like forest type elements. You got a tree house, a little cabin in the woods. You got a lighthouse, which this is what sold me on the set right here because I love lighthouses. And then you have this little like park area with a little bridge. So we're only doing 2 of the projects. So for my first one, I did stamp and did my die cutting ahead of time. So then that way we can get straight into our coloring. So again, I am using Stampin' Up's watercolor pencils. Now, this is a combination. Stampin' Up does carry 2 assortments of watercolor pencils. There's a 1 and a 2. They both have different colors in them, so I'm using kind of like a combination of both of them. So one thing, I don't think, yes, I do need it. Hold on, let me bring up, want to bring up my, what do you call it, my dimensions. So I got all of that kind of typed out here. So let me bring that up really, really quick. While I'm doing that, I will let you know that tomorrow night I go live on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and tomorrow night I am going to be using Fright Night, which is an online exclusive Halloween bundle that's currently available. And then, of course, the following Friday, it'll be Halloween here in the States. So I will then be using the Spooky Sweet suite of products. That's also an online exclusive. And I'm not really so much a Halloween person. However, I like doing like projects that are like cute Halloween stuff. So yeah, so I'll be doing this Friday and next Friday will be Halloween. So let me Let me, wait, come on, you're going the wrong way. I want you to go up. Okay, this helps. Okay, so even though this one's very simple, I need it for really the next card. So my card base is basic white thick. This measures 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have a piece of, this is the Country Woods Designer Series paper. So this was in our annual catalog, I think, like, was it a year or so ago? It is designer series paper that did carry over. This is Country Woods. We have basic beige, basic gray, chrome cake, early espresso, gray granite, misty moonlight, pecan pie, petal pink, pool party, smoky slate, and wild wheat colors in this paper. Again, everything is kind of like a wood texture. There's different colors, there's different patterns, and I thought that this would be a perfect paper to use for the, basically for the fronts of my cards. Now, this paper is still available. It is in our current annual catalog. So it's a great versatile pack of paper if you like to have those like wood grain backgrounds. So this piece here, this measures the full size of the card front. It's 5.5 by 4 1/4. And I showed you that one particular little die. It doesn't die cut anything out, but what it'll do is it'll cut into your either your cardstock or your designer series paper to kind of give you that little bit of a wood texture on there. And so we're gonna glue that right onto our card front like so. Then out of a scrap piece of early espresso, I have die cut this piece. This comes from the Nested Essential set of dies. It's the larger rectangular one right there. And those are still available as well. Those, I believe, are also in our annual catalog. And then out of a scrap piece of basic white, I had stamped this little country road forest type image using early espresso ink. And again, we're going to be using the watercolor pencils to color this in. Now, I won't be using like a blender pen or any water, you know, to wet this image. I'm just going to simply color it with my pencils. So to start, I'm going to take my card base and I'm going to fold and burnish this, and then I'm going to adhere that piece of designer series paper on it. So let me burnish that, and then for this I'm going to bring in my liquid glue, and let's see, I'm going to add, and see, that's the pattern, kind of like your distressed painted wood pattern that's on the back. I like that one too. So I'm going to be mindful of this area where I die cut because I don't want the glue to kind of ooze out. In that area. Okay, and then this is going to line up and cover our whole card front like so. So just press that down like so. Okay, and then there's a little bit hanging off the edge there. So I'm going to bring in my little mini guillotine paper cutter. And I'll take this and kind of line it up. Actually, I'll do it this way first. Kind of line that up. Scooch it back just a little bit. Trim that off. Okay, so there's just a little sliver. And then I'll do the same thing in this direction. a little tiny bit. And we'll trim that off like so. All right. So there is a card base. And we'll burnish that again. We'll set that aside along with our early espresso piece. Okay, so now let's do some coloring. So what I'm going to do, let me see here. I'm going to bring in my silicone craft sheet just to put underneath this so you can see it a little bit better. Again, when I go to color, I'm not going to be going really hard with my pencil. So basic gray is not one I'm going to use on this one. I'm going to use it on my other cards. So we got pecan pie, we got garden green, we have pumpkin pie. We do have basic white. Now that's only going to be if I want to lighten up some areas, which I'm going to use that more like on the next card that I do. Coastal Cabana is going to be another one for the next one. We got cherry cobbler, old olive, and crushed curry, balmy blue, early espresso, and Cajun craze. So these are the colors I'm going to use on this particular one. Okay, so I am going to start with my early espresso, and I'm going to do this little outline here of my path. And I'm just going to kind of drag that to the bottom edge of my path here. I'm just going to bring it down to the edge. Just extend that line. And I'm going to be turning this quite a bit. Makes it a little bit easier to color. And then for my path, I'm going to color that in using the same color. And again, I'm not pressing really hard. I'm going to go in a little soft on this. And I apologize if the camera is shaking a bit. I do have the stand of this attached to this very same table. I got to figure out a way on how I can attach it to something else. I do have another table that's right up against this one. But with the way this stand is, I don't know if I can attach it to that one and then have the camera come over on this side. So got to figure something out with that. Okay. So we do have that little like lip that's right there from die cutting. It does leave that little indentation. Okay, so there is our pathway. And then what I will do is there's this little kind of like our branch here for this bush right here. So I'm going to come in with that. Okay. And then for my grass, I'm going to go with old olive. So I'll come in here and I color this all in. Of course, when you get to the edge, okay. Okay, actually, let me get that early espresso again. Okay, fill this in. Make that a little bit darker. Okay. Back to our old olive. And all back here. I'm looking at the sample one that I colored in. You can use your blends on coloring this in as well, but the reason why I didn't is because being that this image is a bit smaller, I didn't want to risk having like the colors bleeding into each other. I kind of wanted like that softer colored look on this. Again, getting this edge here. So the scene that's going to be for this, I'm going to go with them with more of a fall look. So my trees are going to be colored where it looks like they're starting to turn. The leaves are turning colors. Okay, and then I'm going to go a little bit harder with my pencil on some of these areas that looks like the blades of grass. Okay. All right, then I'm going to take my crushed curry and I'm going to come in and I'm going to do these trees right here. Okay, we got one back here. Then we got another one over here. Okay, so I think there's only 3 of those. And then I'm going to take my pumpkin pie. I'm going to fill in like these little trees back here. So pumpkin pie is a fairly bright color, so I'm going to go kind of light on this. I can tone it down too by adding a little bit of early espresso over it, which I think I'm going to do that. So just lightly go over that, tones it down some. I can do the same thing with my crushed curry trees, just to darken them up a little bit. Okay. And then for this one particular tree right here, I'm going to do that in Cajun Craze. Okay, and then these areas where it looks like there are shadows, and do the same thing like what I did with the grass. I'm just going to go a little bit harder with my pencils in that area. Okay, and then let's see. I'm going to use cherry cobbler for this bush right here, so kind of like a burning bush. I like these bushes because I like that really dark, deep red that these leaves turn out. Of course, this can be any type of bush or tree, but that's what I'm going to make it as. It's your card, so whatever colors you decide to choose. And then again, I'm going to come in, just go over some of those detailed lines. Make it a little bit darker. Okay. And then for our taller trees, now the garden green is kind of lightish, like it's not dark. So I am going to come in and I'll do a coating of this garden green, but then I'll make it a little bit darker by going over it lightly with my early espresso. Because again, I'm kind of going for like a fall vibe in this image. And I want my pine trees to be a little bit darker rather than lighter. Or I can also go over them with Old Olive as well. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to bring in, see what Old Olive does to this. Okay, it does make it darker. Okay, let's go over our last one over here. All right, now pecan pie. Evidently, I didn't use pecan pie on this one. All right, so now I got balmy blue, and I'm going to do the sky. So, especially when it gets to the part around the edges. I'm trying to do this where you don't really see so much of like the pencil lines, but as you're around the outer edge of this die cut, it's kind of hard to do that because we do have that little lip. Now, when I did my sample card, what I did do, I actually stamped and I colored the image in first, and then I die cut it. So then I didn't have that issue, but to save some time, I decided to stamp and die cut this first. So I'm not going dark with this. Okay, so there is our colored image. Move this out of the way. And then let me bring in my card. So I'm going to take this piece here. I'm going to adhere that right down to my card base. And I think I just realized I didn't grab more glue dots. So I'm going to have to go and grab some of those. Let me put that right there. I'll be, not glue dots, dimensionals. I'll be right back. Okay, so I got those. And then I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to pop that up onto that layer. Okay, I'll put one in the middle. Okay, move these backings. Okay, and then I'll take this piece here and I'll just center that. Sure, I got this straight. And I'll center that right there. Okay, and then for my embellishments, I'm going to use these adhesive back metallic gems. So these come in copper, gold, and silver. So to kind of keep with kind of like that fall vibe on this, I'm going to use the copper one. So these come in 2 different sizes. So I'll add one of my larger ones down here and then 2 of the smaller ones up here. Okay, move that out of the way. And there is our first card. So kind of like our fall park-like type image. So I love the fall colors on the trees. So there is our first card. Let me bring in the second card. Now the second one, if there was a lighthouse, you know that I'm going to be all over that one. So for this one, again, I did pre-stamp my image. So my card base, it is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, so basic white thick. I have another pattern of that Country Woods Designer Series paper. This too is the same size of the card front. It is 5.5 by 4 1/4. I have a piece of Misty Moonlight cardstock. This measures 4 5/8 by 3 3/8. I have a piece of basic white. My lighthouse image, I stamped that in Memento Tuxedo, excuse me, black ink. And I'll show how I went about lining this up where I wanted it on my piece of basic white. And then that frame die that is in the set of dies, I die cut this out of one of those patterns of that Country Woods Designer Series paper. So what I did with this to kind of put this where I wanted it. So these are going to be layered together like so. Okay. And then I'm going to take my frame and I'm going to kind of pop that up over it. So what I did was I placed my frame down, okay, like so on my base here. And I lightly with a pencil kind of traced within the frame. And then I stamp my image. Now, the stamp set is the Cling Red Rubber, but I found that when I had it on the stamp, I can tell like where the top of the lighthouse was, and then kind of like where the edges, where the two sides, where it came out from. So once I had that, that frame kind of like penciled out, I then stamped the image, and then I simply went ahead and I erased those lines just so that way I can have my image as close to the middle as possible. So on here too, we're going to be stamping our greeting as well. So let me start by folding and burnishing my card base and then adhering that Designer Series paper. So this card is going to go vertical. So let me get my glue. And we'll add some of that. No, don't go nowhere. Okay, and then we'll line this up. Again, we're covering the whole base of my card. Okay, looks like we got it all covered up. I'll just press that down. You can't go wrong with a pack of Designer Series paper that has all these different wood grains on it. I really, really like that. Okay, then let's see. What do I want to do? I am going to adhere this down. Now, normally there is a bit of stamping I am going to do on this as well with my greeting. But being that the stamp set's photopolymer, I have confidence that I can get it centered and exactly where I want it. So I'm going to adhere this to this Misty Moonlight piece. Now there's just that little border of Misty Moonlight that borders my basic white. I'm going to bring in Secret Sea ink. Now, because this set just has the images, it has no greetings in it at all. I'm bringing in a stamp set that is also in the online exclusives. It's called Not 29 Anymore. So it's all birthday greetings, some really funny ones. Let's get this party started so I can be home by 9 o'clock. It's all fun and games until your metabolism slows down. I don't know about you, but I feel like you're not 29 anymore. Free cake, so many candles. Treat yourself because I didn't get you anything. And then here's to another year of questionable decisions. So really like this stamp set. So I'm just using the happy birthday in this, and it's a sizable greeting, so it's pretty much going to go across the whole bottom of that basic white. So let me get a block. Okay, and then I'm also going to bring in my my Stampin' Pierce mat, so foam, because our photopolymer stamps do not have any foam cushion on it. So to get a good stamped image, I'm going to bring that in. And I got my ink here. Let's ink this up. Okay, kind of move that out of the way. And then I'm going to stamp this right along the bottom so this greeting just fits right there. So there we go. Close this up. All right. And then I'm going to let that dry before I go to color. I don't want no ink smearing at all. Let's kind of move some things out of the way. And let me bring back in, well, I really don't think I need this because I did put that on that Misty Moonlight. Okay, so for my lighthouse, the Coastal Cabana, I'm going to use that on the water. Okay, and then I'm going to take my garden green and I'm going to do the grass. Again, I'm not going really hard with my pencils. I just kind of like want that subtle color. And then the tree back here, I'm going to bring in my old olive. Okay. And then I'm going to use my basic gray and I'm going to do the roof. Okay, and then I'm going to use my pecan pie. Now, I want my lighthouse to kind of be like in, I want to say kind of like an off-white color, but we don't have a pencil that is kind of like that color that I want. So I'm going to use my pecan pie, but I'm going to use it extremely with a light hand, a very, very light hand. So I'll do the house part here. And then very light on the lighthouse. Okay. And then up here. And then I'll go just a little bit darker, like right under here. Okay, and then I'll come in with my white, and I'm just going to go over that to lighten it up a little bit more. It kind of blends it a little bit too. Okay. All right, and then let's see what's next. I'm going to take my cherry cobbler and I'm going to do the top part of my lighthouse. I'll do this part right here. Okay, now we're going to add some, excuse me, hold on. Excuse me, let me drink a little bit of water. Okay, and then I'm going to take my Balmy Blue, and again, I'm going to do my sky. And I'm just going to go lightly, and I'm going around my image. I'm going to kind of make my lighthouse kind of pop off on the cardstocks instead of just having a white background. Just add a little bit of this around it. Like so. So it's very faint. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see. It's kind of hard to see. I can just barely see it when I hold it up and I'm looking in my laptop. My laptop. But yeah, it's faint. I mean, we don't want it very dark. Make it a little bit in here. Okay, so there is, so we got that done. Now I'm going to do something to make this look a little, kind of like spruce it up a little bit. I wanted to have that, that nautical feel to it. So I'm going to bring in my linen thread, and I am going to double strand this. So we'll go about here. Let me bring in my scissors. I will cut that, put that aside, and then I'm going to take this and I'm gonna add a knot, and I want it to be in the center. I'm going to kind of line this up, and then so I want a knot in the center, and then I'm going to add another knot. I'm going to kind of extend it out just a little bit. This is going to wrap around, so I'm going to put my knot about there, and then I'm going to do another one on this side. Okay, like so. Okay, so there is our little decorative piece. Now what I want to do is I want to take my frame here, and I want to take my little dimensionals, and where's that take your pick tool? I find it's a little bit easier for picking up these little dimensionals, and I'm going to add some along my frame here. So I don't want my frame to be all saggy, so I'm going to add a few more on here. So I got 3 along the bottom. And then I'm going to add a few up the side here. Okay. Now let me remove these. Now with this, you got to be kind of careful with it, because again, that die cuts all these little lines in here. So even if you're looking to glue it down, you don't want to use a lot of glue, because that glue will ooze out through those cuts. Okay, so now I'm going to take my frame. Now the thing is, the frame is just very, very flexible, and I want to make sure I get it where I want it. See, and it already looks to stick down, so trying to not have my fingers in. I'll make sure that I get this on here straight and kind of even too. I think it looks good, so I'll press that down. Okay, then I'm going to bring in my Scotch tape, because I do want to adhere this linen thread. I want to put it right here, so I want that knotted element on the front of my card. So I'm going to hold that there, kind of wrap this around, and add my tape. Hold that down, and then bring it across. And then let's tape down the other side like so. Okay, so now we got that on there, so a nice little decorative element on there. I'm going to bring in my seal and add some on here. Put a little bit on these sides like so. And then we'll center this on our card front like so. Make sure it's straight. Then on there like so. Press that down. Okay. And then I'm going to bring in those same embellishments again, the adhesive back metallic gems. This time I'm going to use the silver ones. So we'll take this and we will add this one right here. And then we got 2 little ones we'll add inside of our frame like so. Okay, so there is my second card. So definitely had to do something with that lighthouse, because lighthouses, they are my thing. So here's our second one, our nautical happy birthday. And then the first one, I kind of went with a fall forest type of image. So very clean and very simple type of card. Now, I didn't put no greeting on here, so this can be used for like any occasion. A thinking of you, thank you, birthday, um, happy fall, whatever you want to use it for. So there are my two projects using the framed scenes bundle. Again, this was a recent uh, online exclusive bundle that had recently retired. The stamp set is no longer available. However, these dies are, and the dies are also marked down as well. So I do have a link in the description for the dies. Again, in the description, I do have it listed that the stamp set is retired because you can't order it anymore. Now you may find it, someone may be selling it now that it's retired. Some people keep, the stuff when it retires. Sometimes, especially if they're a demonstrator building a business, they may go and sell it because they really can't sell it anymore. But I'm one of those that I've actually kept my retired stuff and I have a lot of it. So I definitely have a lot to work with when it comes to my Throwback Thursdays. And a lot of times, I'll be honest with you, when I go to use it, it's the first time I've used it since I've gotten it. So I've gotten it before it went away because I liked it. And then, of course, Stampin' Up! Is always coming out with new stuff. So, yeah. Right now, I will make mention of this only because we're actually getting closer to the end of the month. Stampin' Up! Currently has a joining or a starter kit special going on until the end of this month. This is so the promotion to get the starter kit, you can either pay third. Now, again, these prices are for here in the US. Um, the starter kit normally is $99 plus tax. The shipping is free on it. And um, you get to choose $125 in product. And within your starter kits, it's not only the product that you choose, but then there's also some business related type of stuff that's in there too. You will receive like a whole box of 8 of our current annual catalog. Normally, you would get an 8-pack of our current mini catalog, which is our holiday mini. However, Stampin' Up! Has mentioned that they are running low on these holiday mini catalogs. So, what they are doing is within your starter kit, you'll get one catalog, and then the catalogs would be available as 8-packs for demonstrators, to purchase. Now, again, before, it's all looked at like what they have left in stock. But anyway, in the starter kits, you would typically get an 8-pack of each of the current catalogs that are currently available during the joining special or anytime when you join. In addition, you also get a past paper pumpkin kit. So you can kind of see like what paper pumpkin is all about. The two, like I said, the normal joining cost is $99 plus tax, and you get to choose $125. Right now, until the end of October, you can pay $35 plus tax and choose $125 in product, or you can pay the $99 plus tax and you can choose $189 in product. Now, when I joined in 2013, that was when Stampin' Up! Was celebrating their 25th anniversary. So I actually paid $25, but I only got to choose $25 a product to put in my starter kit. Either way, I mean, if you pay the $35, again, you choose 125, and then from there, Once you sign up and you choose your products for your starter kit, you will then get an email. It'll have a demonstrator ID number. And then from there, you can actually place an order and receive a 20% discount. So the discount ranges between either 20 to 25% off on your products. So if you love the product and you find yourself spending, quite a bit of money, maybe every month or maybe every quarter, maybe this is a route that you can go to get it at a discount. So to get the starter kit, and you become a demonstrator, that doesn't mean that you have to hold in-person classes or do videos like I'm doing and what other demonstrators are doing. You can simply get the starter kit, become a demonstrator, and just get the discount. You still get all the perks of being a demonstrator, even though you're not building it as a business. There are demonstrator only events, in person and virtual. There's also again, there's the discount that that instant discount that you get. And when we have sales and promotions where things are discounted, and your discount is also on top of that. When new catalogs or new items are coming out in the online exclusives, the month before. Well, first off, you get to see the products before it goes live to customers, plus, like a month before it does go live, you also get to pre-order that product as well. So there's some nice little perks, when you become a demonstrator, plus you're part of a large community of crafters. I have a wonderful group that are part of my Blue City Stampers team. None of them are building a business, they're simply enjoying the discount, and that's totally fine. Now, does that mean if any of them want to go and do videos and build a business, they can do that too? And I'm here to help them along the way and show them and teach them all the things that I've learned over the years since being a demonstrator. So again, I just wanted to make mention of this only because this promotion is going to end on October 31st. So the time's kind of like coming to a close on that. Um, Also on the 23rd, Stampin' Up did their craft class, so they used the traditions of Christmas. So the actual class itself, the cost $30 here in the US, 41 in Canada. Now this event did happen on the 23rd. Today's what, the 24th that you're watching this. Even though the class has already happened, it's still available. You can, when you purchase it, you will get the link to join the private Facebook group. And then all the videos for all the projects are you're able to watch them on demand. Um, so the For this particular class, they're focusing on the traditions of Christmas sweet. Again, if you don't have the actual products, I mean, you can use what you have. So this is still available. The item number is 170073. So when you place an order, that's how you purchase the classes uh, the through the online. Um, Other than that, um, let's see. Well, that's all Paper Pumpkin. We talk about Paper Pumpkin when that Paper Pumpkin kit comes in. So thank you so much again for taking the time to stop by and watch the video. If you like the projects that I made, if you like I got lots of video content. I have like around 300 videos that are out here that cover like Throwback Thursdays with retired product, my Friday night lives that have current product, paper pumpkin. I have a lot of videos out there with different products that I have used. So take a look, and if you like what you see, please subscribe to the channel. Also hit that little notification bell. You'll know when I have posted a new video and also when I go live. Again, I go live Friday nights at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And for tomorrow and well, Friday being tomorrow, and then the following Friday, it's all going to be about Halloween. So I'm going to pull out the two, the bundle and the suite that Stampin' Up came out with in their online exclusives. It's still available. So I am going to work with that. Hope that you can join me for that. Now, what I do also with my Friday Night Lives, at the very end, I do a drawing for all of those that are that are online during the live on the chat, where I give away the cards that I made that night. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world. The cards I can mail anywhere. It's just product that I can't send outside of the US. So that's going to happen tomorrow. I do also have a newsletter. I send that out at near the beginning of every month. It'll give you a video schedule of all the products that I'm going to be using that month. Also, anything that I may have going on here in the studio, if you live local to me, anything that Stampin' Up has going on, I also put that in there. I have information on the new kits that Stampin' Up comes out with every month, along with the paper pumpkin kit for that month. So it has a whole bunch of different information in it. Now, I don't send out emails every day. Typically, it's only one a month. Sometimes Stampin' Up may come out with a sale or a promotion or something, after the fact, and then at that point I do a modified newsletter that I will send out. So I don't bombard you with a lot of email. I get it. I don't care for it either. But yeah, if you would like to receive my newsletter, there is a link for it in the description below. When you click on that link, all you have to do is put your first and last name and your email address, and then I will send that newsletter out to you. So again, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Throwback Thursday featuring the Framed Scenes bundle, and I hope to see you again real soon. Everyone, have a blessed one. Bye-bye.